terribly sorry about my sad appearance. Believe me, it upsets me much more than it offends you. I'm I'm horrified at how this nightmare has progressed. Since I made that hasty little recording yesterday, the last one on my YouTube channel, uh, just after that, I think I discovered that the dog which attacked Ali, which bit my finger, uh, had also bitten Ali. At that point, Saturday afternoon, I just noticed that Ali had been bitten on the nose, rather a bad one, you know. Uh, After everything else that was happened, since I had spent the whole day sitting outside Parsons Cafe, shivering in my wet clothes, while everyone else is apparently having a whale of a time, when I discovered that Ali had been bitten as well, on top of all of that, I actually started crying. I couldn't help it. It's just too much of a nightmare. It's it's wrong. Um, anyway, suddenly the woman from the charity shop next door that I had been speaking to earlier arrived on the scene and said, "There you are, tent, camp bed." Uh, I'm afraid this made me cry even more. I couldn't believe it. Well, I spent a couple of hours putting up this nice big tent, and I do hope I get a chance to show you it, because it seemed to me, gosh, maybe the end doesn't have to be so messy after all. Maybe God is still with me. Maybe I should hang on a little bit longer. Yeah, well, it took a couple of hours to get the tent up, and by that time, Ali had gone funny. She just lying there quiet, didn't even eat the food that I put out for her. So I just plopped into the most comfortable sleeping position I've been in for 2 months. And I slept for 15 hours, something like that. Amazing dreams. You know how it is. It's very hard when you come back from an amazing dream to remember much of it, even if it's a briefing from God of what you've got to do next. Then you find, oh, I know, I'm a crazy man, I know. I don't expect many people to appreciate what I'm saying. It's funny that I started out young, energetic, smiling, cheerfully singing and playing on the guitar and dancing and trying to make life more fun for everyone. I didn't want to exclude anyone. I taught my dog to love everyone. Unfortunately, beggars seem to be the first to come up and grab some free love. Yeah, well, uh, I hope I get the chance to show you this tent. Uh, Immediately, one of my rather upper class or upper middle class neighbors appeared to say, "Are you extending your campsite?" And I explained to him without losing my temper that I'm not having a holiday. I am amazed that he has allowed me to lie on his doorstep, as it were, over his garden fence, dying in that tiny little wet puddle of a tent that I had before. Yes, so I didn't get annoyed. I just told him I'm waiting to speak to George. Yes, you know, as he said, oh, the council should be able to give you some. Yes, I said, of course they should, but they won't. Yeah, well, what happened then is me and Ali and I went into shock. You can understand it. That's 2 months of an old man, very ill, with tremendous aches and pains, excruciating to think, and I'm not joking, and I'm really scared about what's going to happen if I make it to the dentist tomorrow. I've been worried about this for years. What happens when I've got no teeth? What am I going to be like tomorrow night? How will I eat anything, even to nibble one of these very expensive McDonald's French fries? It's painful.
Here's one.
Ugh. Right. So, I went into shock, really, as you would expect. We've been through trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma, including the trauma of having some local woman call up the police to say that I had traumatized her 3-year-old daughter by calling Ali very loudly when Ali was attempting to kiss her little boy. Yes, attacking her child, little girl. Sorry, must keep it accurate. I always do tell the truth deliberately. If I make a mistake, it is accidental. Yeah. Well, I went in shock, man. Like, ugh. This is the first comfortable bed I've had. Oh well, this would be better to die in than anything else that's provided as an alternative. And I think I started going, right, okay, let's go. I'm out of here. But I woke up again. I must have made a couple of mistakes in putting up the tent because there's still water on my face and hair while I'm sleeping, and my pillow is wet again. But hopefully I can fix that, and we might get some better news soon, right? Well, but finally being able to relax after this non-stop fight for survival. I mean, like when you go to war, you have to live with your aches and pains and keep pushing yourself when the body's saying give up. And believe me, I'm very, very, very tired. I really just want to go to sleep, but I don't really want to go to sleep. It's the body that's saying it wants to go to sleep. But I've been running it over in my mind, how high I have been. I had a fully fitted luxury flat in Glasgow with the 15-inch screen and 2 computers and a whole lot of other goodies like electric guitars and acoustic guitar, microphones, and MP3 players, and all my family's photographs for the last 100 years and all the videos that I have made since 1984. I had a whole lot of treasure there that I was willing to share with one or more or the whole human race. And I was set up by devious police officers. DC Francis McKee and Detective Sergeant John Matheson used a woman that I did not know had been arrested for prostitution, black woman. She presented herself to me as Jacinth Preston, but once I was in prison, accused of causing a breach of the peace by sending her texts saying that I loved her. Right? Once I was in prison on that. Oh, but in prison, of course, the other prisoners were told that I was actually there for pedophilia, little boys. I was to be killed in prison. It was to be faked as suicide. I was to be hung with my own bootlaces. But I managed to avoid that, partly by tying up my own bootlaces so they could never get out again, out of my boots. Yeah, and partly by setting fire to my tent, my cell, so that I had to be put in the suicide watch cell for 3 weeks until the only prison officer I could trust, John Pentney, came back from holiday. 3 weeks in my underwear, without a knife or a fork or socks or anything like that. Yeah, anyway, I survived all that, and then I got another luxury fitted flat in Bo'ness, and then I moved down to Glastonbury after another false imprisonment, and had another luxury flat, and then got evicted from that by a greedy landlord in collusion with the local police and authorities, so that I was not helped. Yeah, well, I think it's tragic that a very, very decent human being, and I mean it, a really good man who has worked very hard all his life, only occasionally lapsing from his desire to do the best for the community and going on to doing the best for myself. That was when I was building up my business. But then, having built up my business, I and my brother decided, let's take this money and get it into something more worthwhile for the human race. You see, that's the kind of guy I am. Right? Well, I think it is extremely, extremely evil and cruel that I should be kicked out of a homeless hostel, which is tolerating heroin dealing and addiction, crack, cocaine being used and sold in the premises. Most of the people there are drunk every day and begging on the streets or prostituting themselves. This was intolerable to me, so I was saying this isn't right. You know, I think on behalf of the community. I know I am odd in this respect. The world needs more of us, doesn't it? We need people who think about the community rather than just themselves. Yeah, well, the staff at that place have been ignoring what I say. You see, I've told the truth to everyone who has asked me how I got into this situation. If you watch my videos, you'll see that. And if you watch one of the videos I put up last week where I'm talking with my lawyer, you will see that my lawyer, who's paid to help me in this crisis, has ignored me repeatedly. As soon as I start to say something which is very important, she interrupts right away to say, to tell me why I am wrong. Either she doesn't believe me or she's part of some plan to exterminate me. I'm jolly upset about it, and I'm not just going to sleep quietly, leaving it like that. No, I should make a bit of a noise. I really am a decent chap. I really shouldn't be treated like this. This really is disrespectful. So I'm coming for you, James. Well, was James Sinnott, Melanie English, Janice Bicknell, who run the hostel, and those people in outreach. Right now, all the people that live around me in Southville think that there are services set up for homeless wallahs like myself. You know, just got to make yourself known to the authorities and they help you. You know, outreach comes out and says, oh, are you sleeping in a sleeping bag on the street? Can't have that. Got to get you indoors, old boy. What's your problem? Well, they find out that I don't have a problem. I'm not drinking all the alcohol all the time. I'm not using Class A drugs. But I do have a video camera. Not a very good one, because the good ones have been stolen from me, you see. But people who work for outreach never had much of an education, either at school, college, or in real life. They don't know very much about what's going on. I want to change it. It must be changed. But as I said, I woke up today in shock. You know, just going, that's it. That's 2.5 months on the run, fighting an old man, a sick man, carrying heavy weights, going around, living outdoors, never getting the chance to go indoors. £4.60 for a tiny little morsel of food here in McDonald's. I can't really afford to live like that. I haven't had nutritious food for ages. I am grateful to the nice women in Southville who have been giving us charity, the tent, the camp bed, and I've now been given a gas cooker, a gas burner, whatever you call it, a camp stove, which might prove very useful indeed. I might be able to get a cup of coffee for 10% of the price I have been paying. Anyway, I don't know when the end will come, because I really am feeling very, very, very ill. And as I keep saying, it is the love of this dog that is keeping me going. That is the love I have for the dog, and the love that the dog has for me. That is what is keeping me going. And when I finally surfaced this afternoon in this big tent, which is leaking because I've made a mistake in putting it up, which I shall try to correct, when I woke up, I found Ali was unresponsive, just lying there, didn't want to eat food, didn't want to drink water, didn't want to do anything. Eventually she shuffles up to me, licks me a bit, and then introduces me to the fact that her ear has been bitten. There is poisonous pus all round her ear. I'm worried about that. That really upset me. That's my life support system now threatened itself. No, this can't go on. So, I'll put all my attention on getting up in time to go to the dentist. Smelly and dirty or not, I am entitled to some form of compassionate treatment. I've been experiencing pain for weeks that you wouldn't allow your child to experience for longer than 24 hours. Believe me, it is becoming easier to cry in public, and I will play that card as often as I can. Well, that's an update. That's what I'm saying at the moment. I'm just remembering that this touch wood, if they don't interfere with YouTube anymore than they already have done, this will be around until someone is interested in knowing the facts straight from the horse's mouth. Yeah, I'm a really nice gentleman. I wish I could find somebody of my quality to share the last days with. I wouldn't even mind if it was a senile old woman with no sex drive, but just liked making 2 cups of tea at a time. I'll keep her happy for as long as possible, because that'll get me out of bed as well. The dog, excellent, but the dog can't provide many of my needs. Yeah, I know it's a garbled message, but hey, it's the truth. I'm 63 years old and I'm still telling the truth no matter what has been done to me. It's evil. If I manage to get a positive connection with someone who's willing to face up to this corruption in government, in the social administration, I can make a lot of happiness for a lot of people with what I know. We don't want to be breeding a whole generation of layabout loafers who never do any work and get used to the idea at an early age that you spend all day, every day, drinking and using Class A drugs and begging. We don't want a society like that. We've got to stop doing it the way we have been doing it, and we have to have a rethink. Bring back the days when every employee had a supervisor who made sure that he did his job, that he produced a good product, and that he didn't spend any time slacking or embezzling or any of that nonsense. Let's bring back an honest, hard-working community. All those idle people should be put to work on one form or other of community service. I have said it before, it was the right idea when I said it before, it's still the right idea. The community needs to create employment and use people, and those who refuse to work, get rid of them, and I mean let them die, and I mean it. And if you really want to, you can get the smack off the streets tomorrow. I do. If I survive, I'm just going to keep recording and uploading as long as I can. I'm hoping to involve the better people in Southville. Uh, but as I say, I might pop out at any time, or somebody might decide to take drastic action against me again. But I'll keep going as long as I can, and this next bit will surprise you and me. Here, watch this.